In life, you do not have many options. I'll give you 3 options on how you're going to live your life, and to be honest, you have no other choice. And now, the reason why I came up with this roadmap was because I've heard and I've experienced it myself. When you go through an existential crisis, you're basically trying to figure out your life, right? And so essentially, I read this book called Ikigai, and Ikigai is basically a Japanese phrase that talks about the meaning of life. And so if you want to know specifically the philosophy about Ikigai, in a nutshell, Ikigai is basically purpose. And the purpose revolves around an intersection of a few things, many of which include your occupation, your ambition, your contribution to society, specific things that make you happy, such as your family and your friends and your community, etc. But in this video, we're going to specifically talk about your career. Because if you think about it from a logical perspective, you do not have much options in your career. The number one, most traditional roadmap of your career is what everyone talks about, what our parents and our grandparents gone through and the generations before, is you go to school, eventually you go to university, and then from there you go into the job market where you find yourself a job, and eventually you either go retire or you go into consulting or some type of advising role. Now, this is traditionally the most common roadmap when it comes to your career for everyone in today's world, and so this is most likely, even for my parents, the case, right? Now the second one is what a lot of, I say, and from the way I experience it, what a lot of older people who've worked in 9 to 5 eventually transition into business. So how that roadmap looks like is they go to school, eventually they go to university, and same like the first roadmap, they get a job. The only difference is, instead of retiring or consulting, they eventually start a business. Now we have seen many types of people go through, this roadmap. We have bankers who do this, who start a finance firm. We have, tech people. We have, oil and gas who decided to start their own company. And typically this is reserved for the people that are quite old and who basically, become a multi-millionaire, let's say 40 and 50 years plus ahead. Now, the last roadmap is the one where I see a lot of young people opt for. And I don't blame them, because through the opportunities online and e-commerce and dropshipping and there's SMMA, AI, infographics, there's all sorts of online business out there that allows you to opt for this roadmap, right? Which you basically go to school, and instead of going to university, you go straight to business. Now sometimes what happens is they go from school to university, and then they would just basically drop out, right? So this is very common, especially for the new millennials out there, as well as the Generation Z and all the new boys coming out and girls as well. And so let's talk about every single roadmap one by one. And then once you understand which roadmap suits you the best, you can make a decision by the end of this video. So let's talk about the first roadmap. The first roadmap is you go to school, university, 9 to 5, and eventually you go into retire, consulting, or some type of advisory roles. Now the chances of this happening successfully is at a 99% rate. If you think about it, every single person can do that. Every single person can get a job and eventually retire or consult or do some advising. Like, think about it logically, everyone can do it, right? But if you have a goal, right, to make a lot of money, if you want to become a multi-millionaire, unfortunately this type of roadmap is capped. There's a limit to 10 to 50 million. Now if you don't believe me, you can research partners, directors, you can manage top leaders of companies, and you can just research their net worth, right? Most of them will be around this amount if their career goes really well. The only issue is, for them to reach this amount would take at least 70 years, at least. By then, they're either retired, by then they're already consultant, by then you're old, by then you've probably experienced the, majority of the world already. And that is fine, right? This roadmap, again, there's no morality behind this, there's no good or bad. It's just a roadmap, and it's, for you to decide, right? And so, finally, I want you to get that in this roadmap, everything is linear. right? Meaning your salary is predictable. You can kind of project, how much you make in your first year when you're entry. You can project how much you make in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years. And salary increment is again very predictable, right? So a few people speculate that according to statistics, your salary increment could be at, let's say, 5 to 7% annually, and that's if you're working well, right? Could be lower, could be higher, depending on which country, the job market, the company, etc. A lot of factors. Okay, and so that is the first roadmap. Now the second roadmap is the school, the university, the 9 to 5 to business. Now the way I see that is a lot of 40s, or let's just say that 30s to 40s are probably in this roadmap, right? They've essentially started a job, and because of all the opportunities in this era today, they see the opportunities in making business and other types of methods of consulting and running an agency and all the other types of business models out there that allowed them to transition essentially from 9 to 5 to business. There are many, many examples where they work for 9 to 5 for many, many years and eventually transition into business. Now the chance of that happening as well is 99%. Very same like this one. Because when you worked for some years, right, let's say you worked for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, once you have experience working for a company, it's quite easy, in my opinion, right, to start a business. Because then you are essentially an expert in your field, right? Whatever field you are, because you are working for that company and you know your skills, right? That's the reason why the company hired you. And so the reason why I like this roadmap is because the moment you transition into starting a business, you kind of get the gist of it already, right? Because you work 9 to 5, you kind of know the fundamentals and the basics of business structures. You know how money operates, you know how cash flow operates, you know what revenue is, profit. I'm not saying that in this roadmap or this roadmap you don't know, but I'm saying that if you have worked in 9 to 5 for some type of years and you transition into business, a lot of the skills that you learn here can be smoothly transitioned much better, right? And so your realistic projection on how much you can make, and now this estimation is based on all the type of online businesses out there, and you can research them yourself. You can make, if you really aim for it, between maybe $400 to $800 million. Like, look at all of your favorite consultants out there. Look at Andrew Tate, Luke Belmer, or Iman Ghazi. They all have net worths around these ranges, right? And so another plus point for this specific roadmap is that when you transition to 9 to 5 and you start a business, because you carry a lot of the experience you've learned in your 9 to 5, it might take you only 2 years. Like, seriously, it might take you only 2 years. And I'm saying 2 years because I've known people who worked in 9 to 5 for 10 years and stopped 9 to 5 and started an AI business, right? And just within 2 years, even less than 2 years, they were able to scale the business. And so your net worth or your income or your profit, if you want to see it from your company's perspective, is exponential. And so exponential is basically like this, right? And so maybe for the first, 3 months, you might not see any results. But the 4th month onwards, you see like a snowball effect. Like suddenly you're making, 100% increases every single month, for example, right? And so that is a good thing. It's exponential. School, the third roadmap, school to business. What is the downside and pros of this? Now, the pro of going from school straight to business is you can make money really, really quickly. And I'm serious. You can make money very, very quickly because of all the types of opportunities out there. If you don't believe me, just search the teenagers out there, 19, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, who are, millionaires already and who don't even go to university, right? And so the reason is one, obviously through the business opportunities they know online, and number two is because they're very fixated on making money. But here's the difference, right? The difference between route B and route C, between these two, is this roadmap, right? All the teenagers making money online, they are focused on making money. The difference between road B and the reason why they start a business is, yes, they want to make money, but the main reason is because they want to solve a problem. I'm not saying, right, that these teenage millionaires, or I mean, who knows, it could be even 20s or 30s, are not solving a problem. They are solving a problem as well. But the reason why they started the business to begin with was because they wanted to make a lot of money. It explains why that they wouldn't go to college or university. So their focus from the get-go is making money. Right, when you're 9 to 5, yes, salary and money obviously is really important, but the reason why you step out of 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship and business is because you realize that there is a market gap. And together with your skills and expertise, you're able to fill the gap and start a business. So hence why your secondary goal is making money. Of course, right? Every single business owner and entrepreneur wants to make money. The only downside I see with this is one, time, 7 years. Because if you are young, right? If you are young and you don't know and have the essential skills to start a company, it's gonna take you some time to start and succeed a business. Whatever you do. I don't care if you're drop shipping on e-commerce, if you're drop service on AI agency, it's not gonna take 2 years. If you don't believe me, you can YouTube Charlie Morgan or other people who talk about starting a business online. It's not going to take you 2 years. It's going to take you at least 7 years. And why? Is mainly because, I'll talk about this in just a moment, but for one is you are missing the character, right? The driver, I'll explain that in just a moment, the character to reach there. And number two, the know-how. Very often the know-how is already provided, right? Because there's so many resources online, for you to like research and figure out, what type of business to start. There's just your online courses that will show you exactly A to Z. As an example, how to start a dropshipping company, right? And so let's talk about this analogy, right? And then once I explain this analogy, you'll probably understand why I'm, recommending this roadmap. Again, I'm not saying there's good, bad, or whatsoever. I'm just saying that based on my future goals, and trust me guys, I've career switched crazily a few times, why I prefer this roadmap. But again, based on your life goals and really up to you, man. Like whatever suits you and rocks your boat, go for it. But let's talk about this for a moment, right? Let's talk about the driver and vehicle analogy, because I love this, right? Let's say your destination is where you want to become. Now it's very very deep and straightforward to ask you, hey, listen, what do you want to do in your life, right? Like you can't answer it, overnight. And even for me, I don't even know, right? But I at least have a vision, right? Or at least a general goal or a general mission or a general destination I want to get to, right? And so let's say you have your destination, whether you want to make 400 million, whether you want to, contribute to society, whether you want to start a consulting business, whether you want to start a SaaS and AI, you have a destination, right? And that's the backbone, that's the fundamental, because without a destination, you don't know where to drive, right? Because what's the point of a map if you don't know where you're going, right? You don't have a destination. So let's say you have a destination, right? And the destination is to become a multimillionaire. And so the only way you can get there is two things. First, you need a driver, and that driver is you. The second thing is you need a vehicle, and your vehicle is your business, your startup, it's your company, it's your job maybe, it's your I don't know, your agency, it could be a lot of stuff, but your vehicle is essentially your business. Now, just like driving a car, there are so many different types of vehicles out there to get to your destination. Right? Just like in real life, we have all these types of different cars that are fast, that are slow, that are comfortable, that are, I don't know, small, big. You get the point, right? And so, with your vehicle, you only have a 10%. So your vehicle only contributes to 10% of reaching your destination. And I'll repeat that, because a lot of people, and this was me in the very beginning, this was the mistake I did, I relied heavily on the vehicle. I thought if I knew the perfect business model, if I knew how to do sales perfectly, if I knew how to do digital marketing perfectly, I would get there, my destination. Now, I learned the hard way that for you to reach your destination, the driver contributes to 90% of the equation. And so what is the driver? The driver is you. And what is you? You is you, right? But what you are compromised or made of, right, from a psychological as well as a philosophical perspective, is your belief system. Right? And your belief system is basically a set of characteristics, attitudes, is your value proposition, is your value assessment, your specific priorities in life, your value, your beliefs, your I don't know, thought processes. So your belief system is essentially you, and it contributes to the driver reaching your destination, right? And so because a driver is 90%, right, and driver is a lot of things, right? It's a big formula. I'll make a separate video for it, right? And for most, it's your character and your mindset and all of the other cliche stuff. The reason why I prefer this roadmap is because one thing that you can learn from 9 to 5, and yes, I get it, everyone works a job, maybe for stability and security. That's one part of a 9 to 5, and in my opinion, it has been misconceptualized like crazy. But the way I see a 9 to 5 is a tool for you to build your character, to build your mindset. Because if you research, right, and this is what I found out, was that the real purpose of a 9 to 5 is, yes, it is for your salary, your stability, your security. Yes, it's for you to make money. But the real reason, the deep reason for a 9 to 5 full job is because it gives you a character. And specifically, it's structure and stability. Because we humans, from a first structure, routine, because we humans, from a first principle perspective, are chaotic creatures, right? And so society has been created, jobs and 9 to 5 has been created to provide us with some structure and routine in our life. Because otherwise we would live in this big ball of chaos on this world and would have no sort of directions, and would probably, survival of the fittest, start like killing each other for, greed and other personal gains. But 9 to 5 is actually the mechanism of society to provide structure and routine. Now, you might not believe this, right? You might say, hey, Julian, it doesn't really make sense. But Google it. Like, literally research this. And so, once 9 to 5 brings you that structure and routine, what happens is you build a certain character and mindset. Now, this character and mindset, right, contributes to your belief system. And once you have established your belief system, right, once you have learned a lot, 9 to 5, once you have experienced the things, right, especially your skills and expertise, when you transition into starting a business, it's much easier because your character is already, configured much better, right? And because it contributes to 90% of you reaching your destination, you're already more equipped, right? So you're already much more prepared, and hence why it takes a shorter amount of time. And so I hope you guys understood, right, the concept or the theory I'm trying to explain, because it's not simple, right? I also understand it. I'm also trying my best. And so if you do enjoy this, do subscribe it. If you want to know more, specifically about this, just comment below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.